I make a lot of fun about on men
Okay.
because I feel like they are all so grown up, right? Like there are 50-year-old men who don't know that the tauliya has to put to sukho.
Okay.
Right. And I find that hilarious that, I mean, men just, they're fully grown. They have, like, how men will be like, ye mera ghar hai, mera ghar hai. And in that same house, he doesn't know where anything is.
Hi, friends. Welcome to the Aspire and Acquire podcast. I'm your host, Sandeep Suri. Join me for listening to some incredible stories about some of the best professionals from very diverse fields like combat flying, robotic surgery, dancing, tea farming, journalism, deep sea diving, and so on. These accomplished professionals are not just outstanding in their jobs, but also have unique stories to share with us. We have tried to make the show truly global by having these guests from different parts of the world. Laughter is the best medicine, and comedy is our escape from life's stresses. Stand up comedians not only entertain but also offer a fresh perspective on everyday struggles. Whether it's a witty observation about life, a hilarious take on struggles we all relate to, or stories that make us laugh till we cry, stand up comedians hold a mirror to society while keeping us entertained. In this episode of Aspire and Acquire, we welcome Jeeya Sethi, one of the key figures in India's growing comedy scene. Since 2013, Jeeya has performed across major cities, produced her own shows, mentored new talent, and built a YouTube community of over 150,000 subscribers. We will dive into her journey, the evolving stand up scene in India, and the effort behind the laughs. Let's hear from Jeeya, someone who has turned humor into both passion and profession. Hi, Jeeya. Welcome to the Aspire and Inquire show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Not at all. Let's kick things off. So, from 2013 to now, you have been part of the stand up comedy scene's evolution. What inspired you to get into comedy, and what was the journey like in those early days?
So, you've known me my whole life pretty much, and you've known that I have always been a funny person.
Yes.
Right? Always cracking jokes here and there, making everybody in the family laugh, this, that, and the other. So I've always known that I'm funny.
All right.
And there was a stand-up comedy workshop happening in Mumbai, and I went and inquired about it. I signed up with it, and I got to perform the same evening at NCPA. That was my first ever performance. And that's where my journey started.
So, it was on the go, is it?
Yes.
Wow. Unbelievable. So, you just walked in and they didn't say that, you have to give any kind of test or anything. You just signed up and then you were
No,
up
so
on.
it was a workshop. It was because
Okay.
I knew I was funny, but I didn't know how to write a joke.
Right.
So I
Okay.
decided to take a stand-up comedy workshop where they taught us how to write a joke, how to
Got it.
reach a punchline, and all of that.
Okay. And then they said, okay, this evening, just go and perform. And you were there up on the
Yeah,
stage.
yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. There were 10 of us chosen, and we all got to perform like a 3 minute spot, like a set.
Right, right. Interesting. And was this in front of the audience, or it was just more like the judges and some officials?
No, it was in front of an audience, but the audience had come to watch the people. So it was a group of boys that had been doing stand up for a while.
Okay.
And they put together a stand up comedy workshop. And
Ah,
so at
I
the
see.
end of that workshop, we all performed and they also performed.
Oh, okay.
So then people came to watch them, and we just were on the lineup because we did the workshop.
Awesome. So you have performed across cities like Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai. Do you notice regional differences in how audiences react to your humor, or is pretty much standardized across the country?
No, no, I get a better response in Bangalore and Hyderabad and
Huh,
maybe even Chennai and Calcutta because they're more English speaking places
right.
and
Okay.
I'm more English speaking comedian.
Okay. So your shows are generally in English. Of course, you'll
Yes,
have a few words of Hindi in between, I guess. But yeah,
yes.
okay, I get that. Hmm.
So in Chandigarh and in Delhi, it's not that big of an audience that comes to watch me.
Uh-huh.
But in Bangalore, I always sell out. In Hyderabad, I always sell out.
Oh, so nice to know that. Okay. And how frequently do you kind of do these regional ones, like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad? Is it kind of once a month, once a week? What's
No,
the
no,
schedule
no,
like?
no. No, so basically, I'll plan a tour
Mm-hmm.
and then travel. So either it will be around October, November, December are great times to do tours.
Right. Okay.
And maybe even till Jan, Feb, till March, before March,
Okay.
right? Because all over it's nice and pleasant. All of India is nice and pleasant.
Yeah.
But then March onwards, it becomes summer and then rainy season. Those are miserable times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it also depends on the season, but mostly October onwards is great time to travel and do solos.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So they say, we all think that comedy is so easy, but I know the fact that it is one of the most difficult things to do in life. Especially stand-up comedy often comes from a personal place, I think. How do you turn daily struggles and past experiences into material that makes people laugh? That's an art. Everybody doesn't have that. So just talk
Mhm.
us through a little bit about that.
So you have to work hard. Stand-up comedy is something that is, people are like, oh, it's easy and all. I mean, some people
Mhm.
think it's easy, right? Because you just have to go on stage and crack jokes, but you have to write about
Yeah.
those jokes, practice those jokes over open mics, and then build a full like 1 hour show on things that you have written about.
Yeah. So usually, these are scripted ones, or or these are ad hoc, or part of
No,
this is scripted and unscripted. How does that work?
no, 100% it's always scripted, right?
I
For
see.
example, I am a middle child,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right? I talk about the struggles of a middle child.
Aha. Interesting. Yeah. That's where personal life comes in. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Got it.
You, for example, are the third born,
Right.
right? You have your own set of struggles. Like, I believe third borns don't have decision making skills.
Oh, that's incorrect in my case, though. But that's
But
fine.
listen, no, no, in the sense of because their family never allowed them to make any
Yeah.
decision.
Correct. They're always
That's
considered as younger ones, the
yes,
ones which are sheltered. Yeah,
exactly.
I get that. Yeah.
Yes, and they've been told everything. Never ki they've never, nobody's asked their opinion,
Yes. So right.
right? And if they give an opinion, the whole family together is going to be like, "Tujhe kuch nahi malum, tu chota hai."
Right. Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this is something that is relatable to any third born.
So just building on this, tell me a little bit about the middle one, the one you are in the family. So that what kind of
And
struggle
which
did you
you
have?
are. See, actually, honestly, I'm so, so lucky that I am a girl
Right.
child and I
Right.
have two brothers, right?
Right. Right.
So, which means all my father's love I got.
Yeah.
Although my elder brother always made me feel like I was picked up from some garbage or something.
Right.
Although having said that, when I got lost in Hyderabad, right? I got
Right.
lost in.
Hyderabad. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I got lost in Hyderabad, my elder brother was standing out in the sun for a good 3 hours because I was
He
lost.
was worried. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he was worried. And then, my knight in shining armor came on his Bajaj. I will not forget. I had my doll and I was with one man on a cycle going somewhere.
Right.
And then you found me. This was
Ah.
like, I'll never ever forget. And then we used to write letters to each other. Do you remember? We used to
I
write
do.
letters.
I do remember, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. I've
Yeah.
never spoken about this moment in my life, but someday this will be a story.
Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah. I would definitely join
Every
that
time
show.
I see,
Yeah.
every time I see a Bajaj, I feel a connection.
Yeah. Yeah. So switching gears, Jia, now you have been a panelist at the Bangalore Comedy Festival. How do you how like, how do you see such events, helping comedians connect, collaborate, or grow for that matter?
It's because we all came together for the good of the women in comedy. It was a panel about the women in comedy and how to get them to come out and do more open mics and do more spots. And there were people asking us questions. And it was a panel that we were invited to. And that's
Mhm.
what mostly panels are about. Like you would get invited to them and then everyone just has a topic that they have a discussion about.
Right, right. So when you invited for the first time as a panelist, tell us, what went through, um, what are the kind of emotions or connections, that you had that time in your mind that, okay, fine, I've been chosen or I've been selected as a panelist for the comedy festival. So how did you feel about it and how
It
things
was
evolved
pretty
since then?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy that I got to be with senior comedians on the same panel, right? Like they have
Right,
been doing comedy way longer, and I got to share the stage with them. So that was pretty awesome, right? And I
right.
I got to hear their side of things as well and understand what the future for me could look like because they've been doing it longer than me.
Yeah,
And now, of course, comedy has changed drastically. Like over the last 4 years since Comic Stan started, comedy has gotten more, like the audiences are more comedy educated now.
yeah.
Earlier, they would come out just for comedian. Even now, in smaller cities, they go mainly for comedians.
Mhm.
But in Mumbai, for example, even in Bangalore, they go for comedy. So it doesn't matter who's performing, they will go and watch and enjoy
Right.
themselves. Like in
Right.
Bangalore, there is a comedy club called Underground Comedy Club.
Hmm.
There's actually quite a few. There's a Ministry of Comedy as well in Bangalore.
Oh, I didn't know about
Um,
that. Okay.
there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of comedy that happens in Bangalore, in all over
Hmm.
Indranagar, Koramangala, even Whitefield. You go up to, there'll be comedy happening.
Interesting.
So
Yes.
in Bangalore.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
In Bangalore, the Underground Comedy Club has now like sort of become a home ground
A big
for Bangalore
brand.
comedians.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So now I know the fact I was reading about this. Running your own comedy production house is no small feat. What motivated you to start it? And what challenges do you face behind the scenes? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I really wanted stage time. And when I started the comedy production house, there wasn't enough stage time for everybody. There were more comedians and less comedy happening. So I decided to do comedy shows and stuff. And also to give myself stage time because in the comedy scene, even currently, there are only male producers. So
Yeah.
they give more options to men, the
Hmm.
men in the scene. So most lineups earlier used to have only men on the lineup and like one woman. But I have kind of brainwashed all the comedians and producers of our time to make sure that there are at least two women on the lineup because we would like someone to talk to as well. It just feels better to have another woman in the green room.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so now that change has fully happened, and I'm to thank for that for
Yeah.
sure because I've been fighting for this for a very long time, and now it's happened. And now, so I don't produce so much on my own anymore, except shows at NCPA, like bigger rooms,
Right. Right.
auditorium shows. So I've moved to that. I no longer do a daily open mic.
Got it. So you're known for encouraging upcoming comedians. What is that mentorship important to you and what advice do you give to the newcomers?
So I actually also teach stand-up comedy as a workshop now.
Oh, so you conduct workshop as well?
Yes, I do
Oh, I
conduct the
see.
workshop. So then they become part. So I've had at least 28, 29, maybe 30 groups of students,
Hmm.
right? Batches of students, 30 batches of students. So in that, basically, what you can learn in 3 years, I will teach you in 2 weeks.
Oh, it's a 2 week program. Okay.
Yes, it's a 2 week program wherein it can also be an 8 week program. The 8 week program happens only on weekends, only Saturday, Sundays.
I
The
see.
2 week program will happen on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like that.
Yeah. And if the audience want to know a little bit more about that, how do we ensure that, they have, I can put it in the show link as well. But if you just let me know or let the audience know how to reach out to you or your staff in terms of, in case somebody's interested to kind of get this registration going for the
Easily
workshop.
they can Instagram me for sure.
Oh,
My
okay.
Instagram handle is Jeeya Dhadak Dhadak, but I have a comedy production house called Comedy Ladder.
Hmm.
Their Instagram handle is COME number 4 COME and come for come. So you can easily go there and DM them, or you can email comedyladder.events@gmail.com.
We'll also put in the show notes so that in case people are keen to kind of take this forward, they can always do that. Okay.
Yeah. And there's no age bar.
Awesome. Good to know that. Okay. How has the stand-up comedy landscape changed in India since you began, and where do you see it heading now?
I mean, so earlier comedy was about, it was very stereotypical comedy earlier. Now it has become more personal and more about each and everyone's lives. In fact, some people are doing observational comedy, some are doing about personal stories. There's a lot of storytellers that are coming out in comedy as well.
Mhm.
And some really bad comedians also. So that'll always be there. There'll always be good comedy and bad comedy. And that's what's the scene now. In fact, now there's a lot of comedians
Mhm.
and a lot of famous comedians. Like people are disgustingly famous now in stand up itself. Stand up as a genre has become an
A big thing.
industry that is known to a lot of people compared
Yeah.
to 2013. I feel
Yeah.
like now, like did you know about stand up in 2013?
Not really. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, things have really, really changed and evolved over a period of time. And I'm expecting that, this is only going to get better as we move forward.
100%.
Yeah. So let's talk about your YouTube journey now. You started your YouTube journey, I think, sometime in 2020, and you have grown to about 150,000 subscribers, which is a big number by any standards. What made you take the leap to digital, and how does it differ from performing live?
Oh, what you put on YouTube. Once I've put it on YouTube, I've firstly forgotten about it. I do not repeat any of those jokes in a live show anymore.
Okay.
Right. And I may have been a little late to the YouTube game
Hmm.
because people had put YouTube videos even in 2013.
Right.
Right. And so I started in 2020. But still, I mean, and my first video, for example, went up on the 2nd of March 2020.
Hmm.
And then we had a pandemic.
Right.
Right. And so I mean, I did put about three, four more videos after that in May and April, in May, April and May. But then we were doing Zoom shows,
Oh, interesting. Okay. That time it was
which,
the time of Zoom shows. Okay.
yeah, that was a bad idea. Zoom
Right.
shows, stand up is not good.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, live show, the experience of the room, the energy where you're sitting and watching everyone come together, everybody laughing at the same
Yeah.
punchline. It's beautiful feeling.
Yeah, and you get a lot of connection with the audience, right? In that case. Otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. I get also validation, right?
Yeah,
Because of like
absolutely.
they're having fun, I'll have even more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Jian, let's talk about your writing process a little bit. Do you observe life first and then jot down ideas, or do you sit down with a blank page and brainstorm? Just walk us through the whole process.
No, so I usually talk about what I'm going through in life right now. Like, for example, in all my sets that I have put out, also, I've been talking about things that I was going through at the time. Some of it is about relationships, some of it is about men. I make a lot of fun about on men
Okay.
because I feel like they are all so grown up, right? Like there are 50-year-old men who don't know that the tauliya has to put to sukho,
Okay.
right? And I find that hilarious that, I mean, men just, they're fully grown. They have, like, how men will be like, ye mera ghar hai, mera ghar hai. And in that same house, he doesn't know where anything is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
You feel,
it
yeah. Yeah. You feel a little lost in your own house. Yeah.
yeah, 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 which I love. I make a lot of fun of men, and I've been doing that for a very long time now. And currently, for example, I've realized that I need one man in my life
Right.
just to talk to other men.
Right.
Right? Because see, men listen to each other without any questions asked, right? If a man says something to you, you'll be like, yes, sir, whatever. If a woman says something to you, you might have to Google it.
So there is a bit of gender bias that comes in, is it?
100%. Yeah, yeah. And no, men know it's a very clear thing. I've seen it happen my entire life where men will believe anything another man says. But when a woman says the exact same thing, they won't believe her in the first instinct. It's not their fault. They are made like that.
They're hardwired that way.
Yeah, that they just don't trust that women can say, and they are so dependent on women. Men
Mm.
are the most dependent on women. They can't live their daily lives without us. They still don't listen to us.
Mm.
Mm.
So this is usually, when you write, and as rightly said, you observe and then you kind of take a blank sheet and start talking about within your own kind of mind, thematically, and then you kind of produce that on stage. That's the process.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
All
correct.
right.
I mean, I also sometimes just have a few points that I need to talk about, and then I go on stage and elaborate on them sometimes. And that's at an open mic where I'm trying new material or workshopping material, right?
Right.
And if I improvise something that has gotten a laugh, I will keep that in my set and then improvise it every single time like I'm doing it for the first time.
Yeah, because you've cracked the recipe anyways. So why not
Yes.
kind of build on that? Yeah.
Yeah, and every audience is new. They are watching me for the first time, right?
Yeah.
Even though I have been doing this set for a while now. And it's actually very nice to watch a set come together because sometimes I play around with it as well. I put one joke up, I put one joke down, and I see how it's working. And so the flow is becoming very beautiful and,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
So all of us in our life, do get influenced by certain set of people, right? Talking about you, Jia, who are your comedy influences, either Indian or global, and what did you learn from watching them?
So there is a comedian called Louisa O'Milan. She's my favorite comedian, full stop. Like, and then there's a boy called Anirban Dasgupta. He's an Indian comedian.
Mhm.
They're basically real and vulnerable at the same time. And it's so beautiful to watch.
I see.
I just like when a person can be vulnerable on stage and yet make you laugh.
Hmm.
right? So that is pure joy to me. Just being honest, being real about real things, talking about extremely real things in the most funniest way, which really, I mean, yeah, that's what I enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. This is
Louisa
going to
O.
be, sorry, come again?
Louisa O.
Yeah.
Milan, she has
Okay.
a show on YouTube called What Would Beyonce Do? It's a very nice special.
Okay. Definitely watch that. Okay. So this is going to be a little tough one. How do you deal with hecklers or moments when jokes don't land the way you expected? Any tricks of the trade you would like to share with the audience here?
So I feel like sometimes the audiences does get a little quieter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Always the first act that goes up has the responsibility to warm up an audience.
Sure.
They talk to them little bit and then they tell jokes. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So you go back on stage and you warm them up.
Ah.
You have to, by basically telling them jokes and bringing them all on board. Now, if sometimes they don't come on board,
Hmm.
you make them all clap for themselves,
Ah, okay.
right? You're like, give yourself a round of applause. Then they'll
Mm.
do a bad job of it. Then I'll be like, you can do better for yourself.
Right.
Right? And then they'll pick up the energy. So also it depends on the comedian, what energy they come with. I'm a very high performer, high energy performer.
Hmm.
So the audiences, when I'm performing, their energy also picks up because people generally mirror
Yeah.
other people.
Correct. Yeah.
And so if I've gone with a nervous energy, the audience is going to bring a nervous energy for me as well. And that's also happened,
Hmm.
right? Wherein I'm having a bad day, right? I'm whatever, having a bad day. And so then I'm not giving my 100%, and I know it. I'm just there for the sake of being there.
Yeah.
And so then they also are there for the sake of being there, right? And then we're both not trying.
But they spend
But if
money.
I'm,
But they spend money.
sorry,
I
yeah,
said they.
yeah, that's
Right.
so. But if I'm trying, right? If I'm giving my 100% and the audience is giving their 30%, I will shout at them like a school teacher,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? And I'll say things like, we have people to give your to do goody goody and all.
Okay.
So
All
then
right.
they,
Then
lighten
they
up a
start
little.
getting engaged in the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, social media. I did talk about this a little bit earlier. Yeah, it has become an essential tool for comedians in the current form and shape. How do you use these platforms like YouTube to connect with your audience? I mean, do you have? I know that you have digital connection through various platforms, but how do you really use YouTube? To connect with your audience.
So YouTube is primarily for stand-up videos. I don't actually put out any content other than stand-up on YouTube. But on Instagram, I do now, for example, in the last 2 weeks, I've become very consistent on my Instagram channel, where every day at 6 o'clock, which is 5:55, I've scheduled a reel.
Ah, okay. Every day.
So every day at 5:55, I will release one reel. And ever since I've started, maybe I started on the 2nd of December, okay?
Uh-huh.
And I have now 500 new follow. No, wait, I'll tell you actually exact how many I think I have around 1,000 new followers on Instagram
Interesting.
in the last whatever. So now, for example, I have 84,000 followers on Instagram.
Mhm.
I'm trying to get 200K by the end of the year.
Ah, okay.
But my Instagram fam will only come for stand up. I can't suddenly start putting other rubbish, I feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, no, I have a real concept that I do about giving gossip to people, and that's something I'm bringing back in 2025.
Okay.
So that is something that people will be very much interested in and engage in. Any people consume any content in today's day and age, right? They're
Yeah.
always on the phone.
Yeah.
What I have noticed is that on weekdays, it's better than on weekends.
Okay.
People do not check their social media as much on weekends as they do on weekdays.
That is true. I've also observed on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
I use that quite
Yeah.
often, and people, usually check out over the weekends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Same thing with what's it called? Instagram and YouTube and stuff. Because people go and do other things like live a real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Jia, before we let you go, looking back at your career, what has been your proudest moment as a comedian, and what's next for Jia in comedy?
My proudest moment, I think, was when I got that silver button from YouTube.
Ah.
I felt like मेरी शादी हो गई. So it was a great, like, I really was very proud, right? I mean, I have been a terrible student in my schooling. I don't know if you've ever known or not, but I was not very bright in school. I was terrible in school, right? And I was a very, very naughty child. I was always getting in trouble because I was an attention seeker.
Mm.
And this attention seeker is now a famous attention seeker,
Hmm.
right? Who knew? Like, for example, even in my school class group, I'm the most famous person in that whole batch of girls in my school, from my school.
In fact, YouTube has given you that silver button for seeking attention.
Yes, they have. Can you believe
Yeah.
it? How
Right.
amazing is that? So, yeah, that
Yeah.
was my proudest moment. And now, my next moment would be for me to record a 1 hour special and release it on YouTube on my own.
Looking forward to it. Excellent. Okay, as we wrap up this delightful conversation with Gia Sethi, it's clear that comedy is much more than just making people laugh. It's about connecting, reflecting, and sometimes healing.
Thank you for having me.
Not at all. My pleasure. Bye. Gia's journey from open mics to running her own production house and mentoring young talent is a testament to the power of perseverance and passion. Her stories remind us to find humor in the little things, embrace the challenges, and keep pushing boundaries no matter the stage we are on. Thank you, Jia, for sharing your laughter, wisdom, and inspiring journey with us. And to our listeners, let's remember to keep laughing. It's not just good for the soul, it's essential for life. Until next time, take care and keep aspiring for greater impact. In today's bonus pick section, we highly recommend The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, a brilliant take on the rise of a female stand up comedian in the 1950s. This award winning show masterfully blends humor with an inspiring journey of breaking stereotypes, making it a must watch. Happy watching!